Hey, and welcome to the Mystic Mondays YouTube channel. Today we are doing a deck unboxing of the Dream Vision Tarot by Emma Zhang, the creator behind this deck and a spirit release practitioner amongst other things. And I also had her as a podcast guest on the Graced podcast, where we talked about themes from the Chariot Tarot card. Make sure to check out that podcast episode linked here. I'm also hosting a giveaway of the Dream Vision Tarot on Instagram, so make sure to head over to Instagram to check out all the details on how to win the Dream Vision Tarot and add this gorgeous deck to your deck collection. If you are interested in learning how to create your own deck as a 5-time deck creator, I do have a course where I teach you how to create your own deck, which outlines every step of the deck creation process, including how to get started. I have a free class which you can join at howtocreateyourdeck.mysticmondays.com, which will also be linked in the description box. I also have a tarot course, which you can also check out at mysticmondays.com as well, to dive deeper into the tarot cards and also develop that relationship, building your intuition with tarot and with yourself. Now let's get into the deck unboxing of the Dream Vision Tarot. Hey everyone! Today we're doing a deck unboxing of this beautiful deck, the Dream Vision Tarot. We're looking at the second edition of this deck. This is a self-published deck illustrated and designed by Emma Zhang. Awaken your inner knowing with the 78 cards. Unlock your own visionary power. See and feel what is already inside of you. And I love the colors of this deck. If you're familiar with Mystic Mondays and the decks I've created, I feel like we have very similar aesthetics. And inside the box, you'll see this little nice touch of this kind of like sparkle icon. I feel like because the title isn't on the cover of this deck, it feels very mysterious to me. Lots of, I feel like, higher realm energy. And knowing what I know now, having Emma on the Graced podcast and talking about her process and also having conversations with her outside of the podcast, she is trained in shamanism and certified remote spirit release therapy medium and tarot reader. So I know that she definitely infuses her experience working with the spiritual realm in this deck and what she sees in her own visions. So this is the second version of this deck because I believe the first version did not have a guidebook. So if you do decide to purchase the second edition, it does come with this guidebook, which I feel like is very simple and very nicely designed. Something I noticed the very first time I opened this was the only card in the deck that has a blue page, so basically inverted from white text to blue page, versus all the other cards are blue text on a white page, and it's the moon. So I think that's interesting. I have a Pisces moon, according to Western astrology, and I just thought that was a nice touch to add that little design element and nod in there. That's truly what I live for, having those design touches. So now let's go over what is inside this deck and let's look at the art. On the edges of the cards, we have this blue matte color, which I feel like is really nice. And the back of the cards, it's the same kind of design on the front and bottom so that you won't know if the card is upright or reversed when you're like choosing cards or anything like that. So before we get into shuffling, I just want to look at all of the card designs. 3 of Cups. And I know Emma had mentioned in our podcast interview that a lot of these figures are what she sees in her own visions working with her own guides. So a lot of them, I feel like it's like the same type of figure in these cards. Didn't realize it's out of screen, so let me move this in. But yeah, I think the artwork is beautiful, and I feel like the artwork has like this glow effect as well. Like, look at all the details and the fish. Whoa, yeah, I feel like that's like a nice nod, that Two of Swords, to the original, but also
holds his own brevity. By the way, I am sorry if you hear me sniffling. I feel like my allergies are activated right now, but I'm very much enjoying looking through all of this beautiful artwork. And I suppose somewhere along the line I had shuffled these cards because I opened this deck for the first time when I did the interview with Emma, and so we did a collective reading during that episode. Just want to see how many cards are reversed. Now that I'm like getting a closer deep dive into looking each card as its own art piece, the pentacle suits, I feel like all the pentacles look like little moons, which is cool. Oh, I love that 10 of Pentacles card. And I am not placing these in a particular order because this is so sweet. It reminds me of that Dr. Seuss book, the Fool card in this deck. I believe it's Of All the Places We'll Go or something like that. Don't quote me on that. So cool. I feel like color is also like really intentionally used in the cards. Like the darkness and the vibrant color. And even the moon, like this very much resembles what's inside the deck with that blue page going through the wand suit. So fire element, and you can definitely feel that with the colors chosen here. You know, putting these side by side. And we've got some cups to end it off. Beautiful. Gorgeous. All right, so now we're gonna shuffle and we are going to do a deck interview spread. Sometimes I like to shuffle like this, but I feel like we already got it in a pile, so okay. So as I gather this back into one, we're gonna do a tarot deck interview as I do with these deck unboxing videos to feel into the energy of the deck because, oh, that one really wanted to come out. 8 of Pentacles. Because I feel that each deck has its own personality and energy, and you know, most of the time it's infused with whoever created the deck. So I haven't actually used this deck for my own practice. I opened it for the interview that I had with Emma. So let's see, what is the energy of this deck? But before we get into that, let me show you the spread that we'll be using. So this is the tarot deck interview. It's inside the Mystic Mondays tarot journal, which I authored and created with Chronicle Books. And it is your guide to unlocking the transformative power of tarot. And inside, you'll find an extensive way to track your tarot cards, you know, the meanings, also some general meanings that are inside the tarot journal as well, and the tarot deck interview spread, which we'll be using today. So number one, what is the energy of this deck? What is the energy of this deck? I've got Knight of Cups. So for this spread, I am not going to take reversals. How can this deck best support me? How can this deck best support me? Okay, I've got 9 of Cups. Wish fulfillment is usually what I think about with 9 of Cups. What is this deck's strengths? What is this deck's strengths? Page of Wands. What is this deck's weakness? Well, okay. Whoa. Okay, so 4 of Wands. And I'm going to move this up so you can see it. And in what realm will we best communicate? In what realm will we best communicate? The Tower. Interesting. How will our relationship develop? God, 8 of Swords. That's so interesting because I feel like, well, color-wise, these are very similar. And I always view color usage as like a ways to interpret meaning. And I think these hands, out of all the hands I've seen in Emma's deck, these look like the most human type of hands with the coloring and everything. And number 7, what guidance can you offer me at this moment? We got 2 of Cups. Okay, so what I am gathering, Knight of Cups to me is an invitation to spirit. doesn't have to be spirit, but since I feel like this deck is very closely connected to spirit, that's how I'm interpreting it. I'm also going to refer to the guidebook just to get some more information. Oh, interesting. The court cards are in different places. So the court cards are in the front. This charming young man has a tender heart and isn't afraid to share his feelings. Love and forgiveness are qualities he brings to the relationship as well as romance. His imagination is endless, and he is also a nature psychic who knows things before they occur. At times, he might be too idealistic, diplomatic instead of honest, and his feelings come and go too quickly. Okay, so yes, how I am feeling about the energy of this deck is Knight of Cups to me is an invitation to receive information from spirit and to receive those psychic downloads, visions, dreams, signs, synchronicities, and to use this deck as a way of receiving that type of information. And the Nine of Cups with how can this deck best support me? I feel like this is, to me, especially with Two of Cups here, it's about co-creating with the universe and manifesting with the universe, and that I don't have to manifest alone. So telling the universe what I want to manifest and also co-creating seems like a theme here. Page of Wands. What is this deck's strengths? This card is so playful, and, the figure looks so young. And the pages are typically the most, I would say, the beginner of the court cards. And I'm also feeling this kind of like mischievous, playful energy from this card. So I feel like tapping into this spread, the strengths are to just have a playful type of attitude or nature when it comes to life, because I think sometimes we can get so wrapped up in our human conditioning, the plight of our human problems. And sometimes I feel like just having that higher perspective of like, oh, I'm learning something right now, or I'm just going through this experience and it's not gonna last forever, And Four of Wands, what is this deck's weakness? To me, it's telling me the weakness, I think it's just like finding rest and finding time to go within and to connect to spirit. But let me see what the guidebook says. Okay, 20 to 30 degrees of Aries, Venus in Aries. As a result of hard work and removing obstacles to success, the completion of a project or milestone is represented by this card. Your efforts could be rewarded, or it may be a source of good news for the people involved with the questions. It's time to celebrate. It could also mean a group celebration or a wedding. It can also symbolize a successful team work environment and a happy home environment. Okay, I'm actually so glad I read that and got some clarity, because I feel now that this is more about acknowledging wins and acknowledging the bigger picture and celebrating those little wins. And then sometimes, life has a funny way of manifesting things. And one of the scenarios that I can think about is I remember telling myself, and I suppose the universe, I remember saying, oh, I really want to manifest a new laptop, but I can't pay for one right now. And then I had my laptop in my bag at like an extended family event, and there was a water bottle in my bag, and my bag was moved to another room to make space or something. And water accidentally spilled onto my laptop, so it was damaged and now had water damage. And I had to bring it to the Apple store to get it fixed. And they ended up replacing basically everything that was inside the laptop. So even though the exterior was the same, they basically, gave me a new laptop because everything inside was changed and different. So that was just really interesting, because I remember I was like, wow, I literally said I wanted a new laptop, but I didn't want to pay for it. And then in like a really sneaky way, I got a new laptop in like a non-traditional sense, because it technically wasn't a new laptop, but the insides were changed. So it was a new laptop, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I feel like it's just funny because sometimes things can manifest in like really surprising ways, and probably not in ways that you expect, So Number 5 is, in what realm will we best communicate? So something I'm finding is that if you're not like paying attention to the messages that the universe is trying to tell you, the universe will freaking knock your head or, just like make it really known that they're trying to send you a message, which can often feel like a tower moment. So, maybe that laptop moment could be an example of like, oh, now I like have to go get this fixed because I can't work on anything on my laptop because it's now broken and has water damage, and so I have to go get it fixed. I feel like this is like things that like happen abruptly just to get your attention so that you're paying attention. And if you're not paying attention, then the same thing will typically happen again and again until you pay attention. So yeah, it's kind of like they'll send you really subtle messages, but if you're not getting the subtle messages, then like those tower moments tend to happen. Whether oftentimes you wouldn't want them to happen, but that's what ends up happening. So number 6 is, how will our relationship develop? I am feeling, because so much of this deck is so otherworldly, and I feel a lot of like higher dimensional energy with this deck. But like I said earlier, this 8 of Swords card feels so human to me and feels like breaking free from human limitations or the human ways of thinking or the human ways that we limit ourselves. So in some ways, I feel like in this card, I'm sensing an energy of struggle and, wanting to reach this place of liberation. And I think that's like the balance between having this human experience, being a soul, being in this human vessel, and yet knowing that you've been a soul in many lifetimes and have all this soul knowledge that you carry with you, whether you remember it or not. So I think that's just like the balance between traveling between different dimensions, remembering who you are, remembering who you have been, and also honoring, this current experience that you are having. And number 7, what guidance can you offer me in this moment? 2 of Cups to me speaks of partnership, and also partnership on the emotional level. But let's see what the guidebook says. 0 to 10 degrees of Cancer, Venus in Cancer. A smooth energy flow takes place between 2 souls when they have a divine connection. You are experiencing harmony at the moment. In general, this card symbolizes unity, love, and harmony in romantic relationships. But it can also depict harmony, respect, and appreciation between friends and partners. Just like the 2 of Swords, this card signifies equality and balance, but on an emotional level. Yeah, I feel like this is about building a really solid relationship with spirit and connecting more deeply with that world, and definitely connecting with that world through this deck. And like I said in the beginning, I feel like there's definitely an energy of manifesting, like co-creation, and speaking your desires out into the world so that the universe can conspire with you. So let's close out this deck unboxing of the Dream Visions Tarot with a 1-card spread for the collective. 1-card pull from the collective. So what does the collective need to see today? Getting this one. King of Cups. Wow. It's so funny. I have been seeing a lot of water imagery in my own meditation. So let's see. His sincerity, empathy, and warmth demonstrate that he is an emotionally mature individual who understands people's suffering since he himself has experienced them all. He is able to tap into the spiritual side of all matters and bridge emotions with reasons. He displays calmness, compassion, empathy, and tolerance. Such characteristics would make him an excellent spiritual guide. When he chooses to stand in the dark, he can be very manipulative, dishonest, and deceitful. So the energy that I'm receiving from this card and the message for the collective, I feel like our experience as human beings, and it's really the breadth of the human experience to really feel all of these different emotions that are available to us. So that's like sadness, anger, jealousy, grief, happiness, nostalgia, all of these things that make the human experience beautiful painful sometimes, challenging sometimes, frustrating sometimes. But I do think that that's part of the human experience. Is I wouldn't say we ask for the challenging moments, but they definitely teach you something, right? And you definitely grow from all of those moments. So something that I've started to ask myself when I'm feeling challenged or frustrated, or, feeling an emotion that is a bit more difficult to process, I ask myself, what am I learning in this moment? How will this help me be prepared for a challenging situation in the future? And sometimes we need to experience the same thing over and over again to really understand what we're learning from this moment, from this lesson in life. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. Thank you so much for watching and for joining me on this tarot deck unboxing video of the Dream Visions Tarot. Bye!
Like this video? Check out other deck unboxing videos, tarot lessons, as well as timeless tarot readings on the Mystic Mondays channel.